Today we're going to be doing some paper sculpting techniques. So you're going to need construction paper, and you're going to need a glue stick, and you're going to need scissors. First, I want to make some basic forms. So I'm going to cut kind of a thick strip out of this orange sheet of construction paper. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to just fold it around like this. So I'll take my glue stick and I'll put a little bit of glue on one part of the paper. Then I'll turn it around, hold it there for a few seconds. And there we go. I have a tube or a cylinder. The next form I'm going to make is a cube. So I'll take another strip of paper, and first I'm going to fold a small section of it, and this I'm going to use to glue. After I'm done with that, I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to make sure that I have the crease nice and tight. Then I'm going to fold it in half one more time. After I'm done with that, I'll unfold it, and I'm going to fold this part in. And I'm going to, again, take my glue stick and I'm going to put it on that little section that I folded at first. And I'm going to use that to glue this cube together, like so. So now that I've made a cylinder and a cube, next I'm going to make a cone. But first, I have to draw a circle in the paper. And once I've cut my circle out, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut all the way to the center of the circle. After I've cut it, I'm going to use my glue stick, put a little bit on one side of that. And then that glue side, I'm going to put it over and kind of twist the paper inside so that it forms a nice cone. And sorry, this is going out of the camera. But after that, I'm going to just press it and hold it there like normally, and I have my cone form. Now you don't necessarily have to cut out these strips so that they're straight. For example, I could cut it out in kind of a wavy line almost, and I could do the same thing. I could just, take the ends, take my glue stick and attach them like that. And if there's a little bit of excess, I can always just cut that off. And then I'll have a different type of cylinder, like a wavy type of cylinder. Now, if I do cut out a strip, I can also put cuts into that as well. So I can kind of make a fringe if I want to, by just cutting out little pieces. So now that I have my fringe, I can attach it to something else if I want to, or I can do the same thing I've been doing and just glue it together, and it makes another type of interesting cylinder. Next, I'm going to make pleats. So what I'll do is I'll take this strip of yellow paper and I'm just going to make some small folds one by one. So now I'll open it up, and I can do a lot of different things with this. I can put it together, glue it together, or I can attach it to one of the other objects, kind of like stairs or something. There are many uses for this. So I'm going to take that pleats idea and I'm going to extend it just a little bit further. I folded this paper, so I have two exact sides, and I'm going to cut it down the middle. Then I'm going to fold those into pleats. So I'm going to attach both of these pieces together. Before I do that, I'm going to fold them in half. Make sure the fold is nice and tight. Then I'm going to take the glue and I'm going to put some right here. And I'm going to attach that folded area together. you're probably going to have to pinch and hold for at least 10 seconds to make sure it stays. After that, I'm going to take the glue stick and I'm going to attach both of those folded pieces, which I already glued, together. Now if I wanted to, I could make maybe one or two more, attach them together and make kind of a flower, maybe a chrysanthemum, or I can stand it up like that, or I can also like attach it to something else. Next, I'm going to take some smaller strips of paper and I'm just going to roll these up really nice and tight. And depending on how tight you roll it, it'll look like this. So you could use these as is and maybe glue them on different things on your sculpture, or you could make an enclosure like this. So I'll take a strip of paper and fold it, and then I'll glue the other end together. And I'll just use this to keep the rolls of blue paper in place. So next I want to make a couple different type of spirals. I'm going to take a pen, but you can use a pencil or whatever else you have, and I'm going to roll this paper tightly on top of the pen. Once I take the paper off of the pen, it's going to keep its shape and it's going to end up being a spiral. For the next spiral, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wrap the paper around the pen, but this time I'm going to make it wrap around the pen going down at the same time. So it's still going to make a spiral, but this time it's going to have some length to it as well. This time I'm going to make a spiral out of this rectangle here. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut in this pattern all along the inside. So I'm going to cut on the edge, but I'm not going to go all the way to the top. And then I'm going to turn it around and cut it. And I'm not going to go all the way to the top. And I'm going to turn it around and cut it. And I'm going to keep on going that same way. And I have this interesting square spiral. So I can use it, I can attach it to the paper, I can attach it to other things, or I can kind of hang it as well. The last technique we're going to do is attaching two different strips of paper together. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to take your scissors and cut inside all the way to about the middle. And I'll do the same thing with this other sheet of paper too. And once I've made the two cuts, I'm just going to put those two cuts together, like so, and kind of press it in there. And I should have these two sheets of paper attached. And the shape doesn't necessarily have to be a square. I can take this heart, and I'll cut the heart down the middle. And once I have cut it, I'll take my cube that I already made and just slide that in there. And now the heart is attached to the cube as well. So try all of these different techniques, and you're going to use these shapes, these forms, when you make your paper sculpture on Thursday and Friday.